Hey there, welcome to today's episode of Care Sandwich. I've got Sara coming up in a minute. She helps people reduce their reckless. She's going to tell us all about that here in a second. But first, check out this video.
Welcome to Care Sandwich, the podcast where we dive into the success journeys of law firm owners across the country. I'm Margarita Eberline, your host and the founder of Marketing Boss, a fractional chief marketing officer firm for law firms. On this show, we'll explore the challenges, strategies, and victories that have shaped law firms and how they wrap every interaction with care. Because we believe that caring isn't just a value, it's a strategy for success. So grab your favorite sandwich, sit back, and let's dig into a conversation filled with insight, inspiration, and of course, a lot of care.
Hello. I want to invite Sara, come join me on this virtual stage. Tell us about yourself, Sara. What you up to? What do you do for us?
Hi, so I am a local Atlanta area attorney. I am a general practitioner and I accept the following types of cases, all criminal cases from petty shoplifting all the way to murder, DUIs, traffic citations, business law, entertainment law, civil litigation, and family law.
Sara, you are one busy lady. How did you get here? How did you end up practicing all of these different case types?
So I had a personal experience where law enforcement did not protect me when I needed. I was a college student at the University of Georgia, and my ex-boyfriend was attempting my murder. And so I went to the Athens-Clarke County Sheriff's Department and reported his crimes. And they told me, right now, you only have misdemeanor evidence, come back with felony evidence so we can put him away for longer. And I walked out of the Athens-Clarke County Sheriff's Department just feeling so defenseless. And so then I decided to go to the law school and start reading up on the law to be able to protect myself. So that's where my journey and passion with the law started.
Wow. So you now help people, though, that have been accused of crimes. So help me connect the dots.
So for me, I also think that, and I know through experience, a lot of people are convicted falsely of crimes. And I've always been very intrigued about the psychology of why people commit the crimes they do. And what a lot of people don't understand is a lot of it has to do with mental health illnesses that are left untreated, which is devastating because then you're thrown into prison where you get even more mental health illnesses. So there's that. There's always a lot of false arrests and people lose everything they have. But I also, being Iranian American woman, and seeing how the justice system here is better than Iran's, it made me very intrigued to help people get out of those troubles.
Yeah. And I think what I'm hearing is you recognize there's systematic issues on both sides, right? People that are wanting protection, there's systematic flaws where they're not getting protection. People that are accused and convicted are also not being treated fairly sometimes because of systematic issues. Am I getting that right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So Sara, you have a really interesting message. Let's talk about marketing now. Reduce your reckless. Walk us through how did you arrive at that one?
So shortly after I went into business for myself and started my own law firm practice approximately 11 years ago, I am of the notion that if you have any kind of legal matter, whether it's civil, if you get sued, or a criminal matter where you're facing criminal charges, if you go to court without a lawyer, you are being reckless. Anytime you are required to be in court, you need a lawyer to defend you because you don't want to be taken advantage of.
Absolutely. And I think, and I'll say it a different way, if you get accused of a crime or if you made a mistake, in either one of those cases, you want to have legal representation to make sure that your actual rights are protected, because where we started here with the conversation, there are systematic issues that are not necessarily designed to protect people on either side. So it is important to have an attorney. And Sara, how do people get a hold of you? Like if they're like, oh my gosh, you know what? I have some charges that I probably should take care of, or I have a court date coming up, or maybe it's an attorney that doesn't handle the cases that you handle. What can people do to get in touch with you, and what area do you serve?
I serve the entire state of Georgia. If I have been admitted to the federal district court, the Northern District of Atlanta. It covers the Atlanta metro area. And so I travel for clients all around the states.
So Sara, can you think of a case, and you don't have to get into the details, obviously, like don't have to name names, but can you think of a case that you really feel encapsulates what you do differently than other attorneys in this space?
Sure. So first of all, I also want to mention how you can contact me.
Yes.
Call me on my cell phone or text me 678-758-4476. That's 678-758-4476. You can also check out my law firm website. It's www.lawofficeofsara Eslami. I also have an Instagram account. It's at eslami.law, as well as my TikTok at Reduce Your Reckless Lawyer. And to answer your other question about a case that stands out, I really dig deep. And when I know, especially that my clients have been falsely charged, there was a case I had about a couple years ago, and there was false allegations, excuse me, against my client and a lot of other inmates at the time at the Rice County Jail in Fulton County, the infamous, horrible Rice County Jail, which they are under investigation by the Department of Justice for their human rights violations. So my client at the time, and he is still, has mental health illnesses, and he was charged of a crime that he possibly could not have committed based on his mental health illnesses. And so I fought really hard for him, got all his medical records. I went and got the camera footage from the jail, from the Fulton County Sheriff's Office very early on. There's a very small window from the time you are charged until maybe a day or so, until they close all the evidence because it's under investigation. So I was able to get all that evidence, all that jail footage.
Wow. Because you moved quickly.
I moved quickly. And so what happens, fast forward, however long right before trial, I appeared with all of the other attorneys and all the other defendants. It was a multi-defendant case. And I told the judge that I will stay here as long as possible to get my null pros. Null prosecu is a dismissal. And she told me I was mistaken, and I told her no, I was not, and that it is disgusting that this case has come as far as it has, that my clients and all these innocent defendants have been indicted for crimes they did not commit, and that I'm here obviously just representing my client, but also this, I'm sure all the other defense attorneys agree that this is ridiculous. It should have never gotten here. And so she told me, that judge told me, just watch what I say next, because she was going to hold me in contempt of court. And I said, so you want to hold me in contempt of court for stating the obvious facts that you all have committed all of these constitutional rights of the defendants? And so judges, I have no problem calling judges out, because I don't have a fear for authority at all. And the Ayatollahs murdered, raped, poisoned 13 members of my family. So, a judge on the stand in the state of Georgia does not bother me. So I say the things that other attorneys are scared to say. And that's why a lot of my clients love having me by their side.
Hey there, I hope you're enjoying the conversation and your sandwich as much as we are. I want to take a moment to share a few words about our sponsor, Marketing Boss. If you're a law firm owner looking to supercharge your growth, our team at Marketing Boss is here to help. We've got over a decade of experience and a proven track record, and we specialize in growing law firms like yours with data-driven marketing leadership. So if you own a law firm and you're ready to get a predictable, steady flow of cases from your marketing, let's connect at marketing-boss.com.
Wow, that's amazing. And as I hear you speak and describe, I'm getting this visual. And the energy in the room that I'm feeling is overwhelming for the person being accused, but I would imagine for other attorneys, it might be intimidating, but not for you because you're just so connected to your client, is what I'm sensing, that it's like it doesn't even matter. I don't know, like the way that you describe it, it almost feels like maternal, you know what I mean? Where it's like I'm here to protect. I don't care. Like it is, and that's like your only focus. It's almost like your own like survival, your own, interests. Yeah, becomes secondary. Obviously, instinctively, we all protect ourselves, but it's almost like it becomes secondary. And it's so funny because I only know one other crim attorney that's like that, and it's also a female. And it's like she also doesn't play. And I think that's beautiful. And I think, let's talk about the other topic too. Like many times the loved ones of people that are accused of crimes can often turn their backs on people because they think, oh, this is a mentally ill person, that I'm already tired of helping, or this is a person that has these patterns. Walk us through, because you're the one that's connecting with them and defending them. From your perspective, why should family members not give up on their loved ones, and seek guidance from somebody like you if somebody is detained and isn't able to retain an attorney on their own? Let's talk about the loved ones, because I know in your space, in the crim space, oftentimes you're not retained by the person accused by the crime. You're retained by loved ones that are wanting to assist.
Exactly. I do want to talk about that, but I also want to say that case I mentioned, I got my client and every other defendant's cases dismissed because of the motions that I filed stating that they had violated all of these constitutional rights. So it worked.
Wow.
And the judge at that same hearing, she told me that that she's going to throw me in jail. And I told her I will gladly go to jail for my clients, and I will go in there and I will get more clients and come out with more money. So lock me up, Your Honor.
Oh my God. That's awesome. What a rebel. That's amazing.
So in regards to the family members, like I said, a lot of times people who have mental health illnesses are not properly medicated. A lot are not even ever diagnosed to be able to get the mental health treatment that they truly deserve. So that is step number one. I a lot of times have a forensic psychologist go in and do a psychological evaluation in order to provide, first of all, the defense that they could not have been possibly charged with this crime because they didn't have the mental capacity or the intent behind the crime when if it's an intent crime, as well as get that client help, get the medications they need if they're still incarcerated. The issue becomes this. A lot of people, when they come out, they're only given a 30-day medication phase. And then they can't afford their medications because they don't have health insurance, and then just get right back off of it. It's a very vicious cycle. The system is not set up to protect the mentally ill. So,
right. It's almost, and I can talk about that for a while, but I'll touch on it briefly. Like, I have some stuff in my family where we experienced some of that with a mentally ill family member. And I know exactly what you're talking about. It's almost like it's designed to appear like their services and they're government funded and everything, but it's like fake. Like it's so Band-Aid. It's so like, okay, yeah, here we did something. And then like those of us that are actually living it with the person, it's like, no, wait a minute. Like this is not, you just put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound here. Like, but anyway, so I know exactly what you're describing. So Sara, walk us through, if a loved one is charged with a crime and you're deciding, is it even worth hiring an attorney? What would you say to that person?
I would say that you definitely need an attorney. And if they can't afford one, they need to apply to get a court-appointed attorney. I actually have served as a court-appointed attorney to give back to the community, because I've seen so many times in court where people don't know their rights and judges take advantage of them. Don't ever represent yourself unless you have a legal education. Like even attorneys need attorneys, and any good attorney knows that if they're charged with a crime, that they're going to get an attorney and lawyer up. Just because you went to law school doesn't mean that you should represent yourself ever.
Yeah, and I find, and let's talk about hopelessness, and I'll give you context. At Marketing Boss, we have a sales program called Connect Convert. So we listen to a lot of conversations, like conversations with people that have been accused of crimes, right? And when they call the law firm, it's like they're calling to get information, but it's almost like before they even call the law firm, you can pick up that there's this feeling of hopelessness. It's kind of like they're going to call just to see, but in the back of their head, they already feel like there's no hope. Like it's so bad that, and it's almost like they need to be convinced that, yes, there is hope. But as you and I know, and these walls know, in the legal space, there are no guarantees of outcomes. And it's almost like if the person on the other line doesn't guarantee that, yeah, the charges are going to get dropped, or, yeah, this is what's going to happen, they feel hopeless. Like, what would you say to somebody that is calling, investigating, researching, but in the back, and maybe they're not aware, but in the back of their mind, they're already feeling like it's a hopeless situation? Like, walk us through just very generally, like how to think about this. You as an attorney being on the other side, and no, you're not going to give guarantees, but like, how can somebody have hope?
I pride myself in educating my clients because I believe knowledge is power. So I send them the law. I walk them through it. We meet, we talk about it. And that seems to give them some more, it makes them feel a little more empowered. But also, I tell them, if you can accept the worst case scenario in the consultation, I always tell them, based on what you've told me, without looking at the discovery, all the evidence, speaking to all the witnesses, I always tell people the worst case scenario, the best case scenario, what's likely to happen. And then I say, okay, this is the worst case scenario. For example, you get a year in prison. If you can accept that, it's 1 year, then that's it. That's the worst thing that's going to happen. I know it sounds, and I don't say that to be insensitive, but then I tell them, what's likely to happen is probably a little less than that. And that makes them feel a little bit better. But I always give them as much encouragement as possible and just try to persuade them into being more positive and knowing that eventually they will get through this. I've had a lot of clients who have turned their lives around, who are, prior convicted felons, and now they are very successful and they, live on the straight and narrow. So I've had a lot of success stories, and that is why I do what I do, is that especially if I see clients who have been falsely arrested and their lives fall apart and I'm able to get their names cleared, and now they can live the life that they deserve. That is all I need to do my job.
Yeah. And as somebody that's retained attorneys in instances where it's been very uncertain and scary, I can also add that, like, at the end of the day, you owe it to yourself to try to get justice, to try to get a positive outcome. And it's okay to just kind of let go and trust your attorney, especially if you are hiring somebody that you believe really has your back, and trust that whatever outcome is going to be the best outcome, and just make peace with it. Right. I think sometimes, and I'm speaking from my experience hiring attorneys for other services, where it's like you get to a point where it's like you can get so much anxiety in your head over like wanting to control the outcome, and wanting to get that reassurance from your lawyer that, yeah, you're going to get all your money back, or yeah, you're going to get, whatever, custody of your kids or whatever. Once you let go and just trust your attorney, like, it really does work out. Like, and it feels good to know that you tried and that you made that investment in a legal service to give yourself the best chance possible for a positive outcome. Those are my thoughts as somebody that's hired attorneys before for different things. But so Sara, I've got one more question for you. And I know you and I have had other conversations and we can talk for days. But I have one more question for you. And then we're going to put your contact info up on the screen as you answer this, just in case somebody listening wants to see that number again. What is your favorite sandwich? Because this is, after all, called the Care Sandwich Podcast.
I love a good Cuban.
Really? That's random. Cuban. Okay.
Yes, I feel I was Latina in my past life. I love the culture, and yeah, a good Cuban sandwich is.
Do you have a favorite spot?
I mean, Miami, they have the best Cubans.
Okay. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Lots of yummy food. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Contact Sara if you are an attorney and don't handle the cases that she handles. Get in touch with her. She's going to take good care of your clients. If you're listening / watching, you have a loved one in the Atlanta area, the area that she serves, get a hold of her. Give yourself, your loved one, the best shot. And I hope that you found the insights that she gave helpful, inspirational, and we'll see you on the next episode of Care Sandwich. Sara, I'll see you backstage.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Care Sandwich. Remember, the way we care for our clients, our teams, and ourselves can make all the difference in our success. Until next time, keep caring, keep growing, and I'll see you on the next episode of Care Sandwich.